Imagine being taken from your home, placed behind a fence, and displayed to thousands of people as something to observe. Not as a person, but as an exhibit. This wasn't fiction. This was reality in the 19th century. During the late 1800s, across Europe and North America, a disturbing form of entertainment began to grow in popularity. They were called ethnological exhibitions. But today, they're remembered by a different name: human zoos. These exhibitions displayed people often from Africa, Asia, and indigenous communities as living specimens for the public to observe. Entire families were taken, transported far from home, and placed into reconstructed villages. They were made to wear traditional clothing, perform daily routines, and live under constant surveillance. Crowds would gather, not just to look, but to judge, to compare, to reinforce a belief that some people were more civilized than others. One of the most well-known figures behind these exhibitions was Karl Hagenbeck, a German showman who popularized these displays across Europe. He presented them as educational, claiming they allowed audiences to experience exotic cultures. But in reality, they reduced human lives to spectacle. By the early 20th century, human zoos had become widespread. At events like the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, over 1,000 indigenous Filipinos were exhibited to American audiences. Many were forced to live in unfamiliar climates, perform for crowds, and endure conditions they had no control over. And this wasn't limited to large fairs. In cities like Paris, Berlin, and even New York, these exhibitions drew massive crowds. Millions of people attended. But behind the scenes, the reality was far darker. Many individuals suffered from illness due to harsh conditions and lack of proper care. Some died while on display, far from their homes, families, and cultures. And even in death, they were often denied dignity. Their remains were sometimes studied, displayed, or stored without consent. One of the most heartbreaking cases was that of Ota Benga, a man from the Congo who was brought to the United States and displayed in the Bronx Zoo in 1906. He was placed in the primate house. Alongside animals, visitors came to watch him, laugh at him, point at him. He was treated as less than human, in a place meant to educate and entertain. After public outcry, he was eventually released. But the damage had already been done. Years later, he took his own life. Human zoos did not disappear overnight, but their legacy remains. They reveal a time when entire societies accepted the idea that some lives were meant to be observed, rather than respected. A time when human dignity was not equally applied. Today, these exhibitions are remembered as one of the darkest chapters in modern history, not because they were hidden, but because they were celebrated. And perhaps the most unsettling part is not that they existed, but that so many people came to watch.